Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Vecna, Eve of Ruin, the brand new Dungeons & Dragons canon hardback. And we're going to talk about Chapter 2, and we're getting into the Wizards 3. And that's the name of the chapter, the Wizards 3. Woo! All right, let's get into this. Okay, so the characters have been enjoying their... actually, it's one of the coolest things about there's this new trend in tabletop role-playing game overall, which is, hey, we're going to tell you about the setting, but rather than just list it out and dump it in, we're going to really give you options, right? So there's this segment that says, what have the player characters been up to? What have they been doing? It's really fascinating, right? And so I love this aspect of the they have the table, and they're like, what have the characters been doing? And the list of things that the player characters have been doing are descriptions of what happens in Faerun. Oh, and by the way, let's talk this through. So they're in all right, so they're on the planet Toral, on the collection of in the area of Faerun, right? And then specifically they're in Neverwinter, okay? So, because Faerun contains a whole bunch of stuff, right? And so the planet is Toral, Faerun is the general region, and they're specifically in the city of Neverwinter. And they've been here for weeks, months, or years, right? Or you can go directly into this happens almost immediately. Although it really doesn't make sense for it to happen immediately. You really do need a little bit of time to determine. You need more time. There's no question. It is not wise to say that this happened immediately. So you need weeks, months, or years, and the dungeon master has discretion based on what the player characters respond on what they've been doing, right? But let's jump right into this. So at this point, Illustrial Silverhand has gathered the Wizards 3. So Illustrial Silverhand is at her sanctum on Sigil, which is the main, it's where all the gate towns are in the Planescape setting. Okay, so, and that's all in the astral. So they're in Sigil in Illustrial Silverhand's sanctum. Okay, next you have Tasha. Okay, so Illustrial Silverhand is from Faerun, and then she has called Mordenkainen from Oerth, and Mordenkainen is chaotic neutral. He's not even a good wizard. I didn't know that. All right, but Mordenkainen is not even a good wizard. And then she has Tasha. Okay, and Tasha is from the multiverse. She's from all over. Okay, and so really, really fascinating. All right, now get this. This is where it starts to get weird. All right, this blew my mind. I was like, wait, what? Like, okay. They said in the book that Mordenkainen is not Mordenkainen. It is Vampire Cass of who was Vecna's lieutenant. I can tell you right now, I'm on chapter 2, but I'm telling you right now, this is an abominable mistake. I love Dungeons & Dragons. I'm going through this canon hardback because I love it. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea from two perspectives, and I'm telling you right now, you got to modify this book, okay? And everybody does this with every D&D canon hardback. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna have to change this," and this is mine, man. You cannot run Mordenkainen as Cass. Why? Two reasons. First of all, I got a history when it comes to tabletop role play games where I'd be at the table and I'd be kind of upset, right? So one of the biggest was we were going through a Pathfinder adventure path, and I'll try to look up we go through this Pathfinder adventure path, and there's this sword, right? There's this sword there's a specific sword, right? And like the whole adventure is around finding this sword, right? And so basically the adventure starts and they said, the sword is missing and it's been replaced with a counterfeit in the church, right? And you guys need to go into this demon-soaked realm space to find this sword. And I was like, and so we're at the beginning of the adventure, right? And the dungeon masters, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna go right to the temple. I don't think it's a counterfeit. I think the real one is right there, and it's not missing. And I don't think we have to go through all this demonscaped horror war zone, right? And the dungeon master and the game master, because you don't have dungeon masters in Pathfinder, right? The game master said, you go to the church and you don't find anything. And I was like, well, wait a second. Can we run through that? Like, I'd like a perception check, right? And they're like, nope, you don't find anything. And I was like, wait, what? And so, and there was a social pressure. So I'd been invited to somebody's house, and, it wasn't it was a player's house, and the player's wife was playing a player character. And it was a mess. It was a hot mess, right? And Game Master was coming in and bringing in this story, and had spent a bunch of time learning, and like and spent a lot of time like painting terrain, right? So 3 sessions later, finds out I was 100% right. The real sword was there all along, and I would have saved us all that. And then the Game Master would have actually had to written a story. Oh no, I was bent. Right? And I was like, that sucks. I said it right at the table, and everybody was like, oh man, he was kind of right. Like, he really kind of ruined this whole thing, because Scott knew the twist right at the beginning, but this game master, because he's playing Pathfinder, because nobody decent plays Pathfinder. Like, any decent game, if you're decent, you're a dungeon master. You never let that disgusting title of game master fall onto you, right? Like, it's disgusting. And that's why Pathfinder exists, or like subpar, people who can't make it as a dungeon master, right? Like, it was so bad, right? And I was so torqued, and it was such a horrible ending for me and for everybody else, right? This is sitting right there, and in this book, it's like, oh yeah, Mordenkaine's going to tell you got to go get this, get the rod of 7 parts. If one of your players goes, nope, like, I don't trust Mordenkainen, you're done. The whole thing is done, right? The entire, the whole setup is finished. It's bad. Here's the other one, okay? So you cannot do the vampire cast thing in this book, because it's very bad. If it will completely derail the book if any of your players figure it out, okay? Addition to that, let's talk about the Wizards 3. This is a massive feminist overshoot, right? I'm for, so originally the Wizards 3, let's talk about the Wizards 3. What's going on with the Wizards 3, okay? So, yeah. What is going on with the Wizards 3? Let's talk it through. Oh my gosh, it is astounding. I cannot believe how bad this problem is, right? So you got the Wizards 3, and who are the Wizards 3? Elminster from Faerun, Dalamar from Kryn, and Mordenkainen from Oerth, right? That was way back in the day, and that was wrong. You're saying that in all of Dungeons & Dragons, none of the most powerful wizards are female. That's wrong, right? So now we need to fix it. So we did fix it. I thought we fixed it, right? Oh, okay. Illustrial Silverhand. Yeah, great. She's powerful. She has history in Dungeons & Dragons. Tasha, she got her own book, man. Of course. Yeah, Baba Yaga's daughter. Bring it, right? Yeah, that witch can, yes, she can arrive, right? Like, yeah, she's one of the most powerful wizards in all Dungeons & Dragons. Now you bring in Mordenkainen, and you're like, okay, man, we fixed it, right? Both genders are represented, but you're like, no. Morden don't make it. Mordenkainen ain't powerful enough to be called a wizard of the 3, right? It's just some imitator vampire cast. Oh, so who's the other one? Is it another woman? right? So you don't fix the gender issue. This is abominable. You cannot let this play. You cannot let this play. You must make Mordenkainen real. And get this, it is kind of cool because this is where you twist it, right? And you're going to catch your meta players, right? So one of the meta players is, I don't trust Mordenkainen, right? And you could let them go down that road, but in your running of this book, Mordenkainen's real, right? So you've got to change this. All right, that is chapter 2, first section. That is chapter 2, part A of Vecna, Eve of Ruin. It is fantastic. Every single word I just shared with you is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.